49er fans, the 49ers in 2025 are a lock to make the playoffs if they're healthy. But if they're healthy, they're a lock. I promise you. I promise you, and I'm going to tell you why. What's up, everybody? Seth Floyd Show. I'm your host, Seth Floyd Hansen, guys. Hit record was at 379 subscribers. Thank you so much. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. Help me get to my goal, 500 subscribers by the time football season hits in September. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here. Share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. Guys, the 49ers in 2024 had one of the worst injury luck seasons you've had. It was one of the worst they've had. It is the worst that they've had since 2020. We all know that nightmare season. Funny enough, that came off a Super Bowl loss called the Super Bowl hangover. We experienced it was almost the exact same season it felt like in 2024. Just maddening, awful. Well, I have been on record saying all this exodus in free agency has been wildly overblown, wildly overstated. And I think a few people are starting to come around to it. But here's the thing. If everyone stays healthy, which is a big if, I understand, but I think it's safe to assume that your luck is going to have a positive regression. Look it up. That is an official term, okay? Regression. Regress back to the median, essentially, okay? I'm not saying everyone's going to be healthy all 17 games, but it was just one thing after another last year. And I think it's safe to assume you will have better luck than you had last year. So can your key guys that are a little bit older, can they stay healthier than they did last year? I'm looking at George Kittle, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, who played through an ankle fracture last year. Nick Bosa's got to stay on the field. Okay, Christian McCaffrey, of course, has to stay on the field. But if those guys stay healthy for the majority of the season, it's a lock. And here's why, guys. We've mentioned this before, but the 49ers schedule, once again, has been confirmed as the easiest schedule going into 2025. Now, before, when we talked about it, it was based off of last year's records. So they took all the opponents that the 49ers are going to play this year, and it was based off of last year's records, which is a good starting point, but does not tell the whole story. Well, we've kind of had an update to that. Warren Sharp, if you've heard of him, football guy, he looked at the schedule again after the draft, after free agency, okay, and looked at the updated odds and win projections that Vegas has put out for all 32 teams. And spoiler, after evaluating all the 49ers opponents' expected win totals and what Vegas has set the line at for them, the 49ers have still the easiest schedule by a significant margin, okay? Nothing dramatic happened for any of these teams to really sway what the 49ers' strength of schedule would be. And considering, as he goes in, he put out a YouTube video talking about it all, and he has a 5-minute clip on the 49ers. And he says the 49ers have the biggest swing as far as difficulty of schedule from 2024 to 2025. They were number 28 last year, which means they had the 5th hardest schedule, okay? You combine that with the injuries, especially the CMC one, it felt like. Combine that with the injuries. You combine that with they had no idea what they were doing on defense. Combine that with the Super Bowl hangover. Guys are exhausted. You get what you got in 2024. They were 2-6 in one-score games. I mean, shoot, that's bad luck right there too. Easily could have been closer to a 500 team if they could just have made 1 or 2 plays at the end in a handful of those games. I say that to say this, guys. Look at the 49ers situation. Before we get into it fully, I'm not calling them a Super Bowl contending team because I don't think they are. I'm sure a lot of you don't want to hear that. I don't see it. I don't think they are unless a couple of these rookies just pop and are Pro Bowlers, or a couple of the guys pop and are Pro Bowlers from last year, like a Renardo Green, Malik Mustafa, who looks like he's missed a little time, or Brandon Ayuk comes back to 2023 form, or something like that. You would need a surprise for them to truly be a Super Bowl contending team. But let's just look at things objectively and make some reasonable assumptions, okay? And you tell me if they're a playoff team or not, okay? I know if any NFC West fans in here that are not of the 49ers, you're going to tell me otherwise, and that's fine. But let's just look at it, okay? I've already talked about reasonably. You can assume you're going to have better injury luck than you had last year. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but you were on the worst end of that spectrum last year. You can assume things will be better this year. I don't know how much better, but it should be trending in the right direction, okay? The other thing, guys, and this is one of the most untalked about things, I think, is we know Nick Sorensen was not the answer at defensive coordinator, but I don't think people realize just how bad it was. Yes, we lacked depth. No, we could not stop the run, okay? But our defensive coordinator was not doing us any favors to get guys in the right position. Okay, I don't care how talented your team is. If you are poorly coached, you are going to limit your ceiling greatly. So when you combine, like, okay, we had a lot of guys injured on defense. We didn't have the depth we really needed on defense. And we had a guy on defense calling plays, schematically coming up with the game plans that was just not putting our guys in a position to win. Immediately in 2025, you are at least elevating your floor and ceiling with Robert Saleh because he knows how to coach defense. Okay? He knows when he's just been the defensive coordinator, he is lights out. He's been great. He's been great. I don't know where you'd rank him in the NFL, but he's probably like a top 5 defensive coordinator in the NFL. Like, I feel comfortable saying that. Just fantastic. And he's going to know how to get these guys in position to make plays, okay? And we haven't even talked about the schedule yet, okay? And I mentioned it, but like, let's reasonably assume guys will be in better positions than they were last year. And guess what? You are going to be playing much easier offenses, specifically quarterbacks, than you played last year, okay? You are going to be putting you have everything there for the taking. Vegas still, after the draft, Vegas still has the 49ers as the betting favorites to win the division. Now, I know a lot of 49er fans that don't agree with that. I don't know that it's just tough. Are they the best team in the division? I don't think so. I would probably give that to the Rams on paper right now. But man, you look at the schedule that they get to play, it's there for the taking. It's there for the taking, for sure. And so I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty good that you're going to get enough production and help from some of these younger guys, some of these rookies, to put you over the edge. And you're going to play enough easier teams on your schedule, because there's always that like rookie learning curve, and then you really in the second half of the season you start to see some of these rookies come on. Well, if you're playing, you have such an easy schedule. I think I was thinking about it. You play 2 playoff teams, the Rams and the Bucks. There's got to be one more. Rams, the Bucks, and the Texans. That's 3 playoff teams. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. You play 3 playoff teams, 4 games, because you play the Rams twice, against teams that made the playoffs last year. You will play 4 games against former playoff teams. Now, of course, teams are going to get better. Like, I expect the Bears to be better than they were last year. Okay, how much better? I don't know, because the jury's still out on Caleb Williams. But you imagine they'll be better. I think the Falcons are going to be a little better. Okay, I think that Michael Penix in his second year, he got like half a season to start. I think they're going to be a little better, but nothing to be like shaking in your boots over. And the rest of the schedule, guys, outside of your division is just like not that great. Like Houston's going to be tough. Tampa is always feisty. You beat Tampa though last year on the road in that piss poor season you just had. You play them on the road again. You play Houston on the road. Fine, not ideal. Your boy might be at that game. Actually, I'm trying to make it happen. But other than that, guys, you have a chance for these rookies to learn early against some easier opponents so that their mistakes might not cost you some games, and then second half of the season they could be rocking and rolling. So I feel very good about it if the health is there. If the health is there. What do you need a couple other things that you probably need from these rookies? What are some realistic expectations for these rookies to help you be a playoff team? If this stuff doesn't happen, then maybe it's different. Like some of the expectations. First, Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, they have to start week 1. Mykel Williams especially. If those 2 do not start week 1, then you've got a bigger problem on your hands and you might not be a playoff team. If they cannot beat out the other guys on the roster as of right now, then they're bad picks. you whiffed, missed evaluation, whatever, but then you have a problem. Now, I'm not expecting, and I say that because it's so depleted on the defensive line that it would be very disappointing if they didn't start. This isn't the 2023 roster where you might be like, well, they'll rotate in. No, these guys need to start right away. If those two rock and roll in camp and they look like the best at their position, or for their positions at that moment, then you feel good that you're elevating your play. Nick Martin, man, I really hope he starts. Mayoko talked about that. He thinks Nick Martin is going to start over D. Winters. That would be a great pick. Upton Stout, I don't think he has to start at nickel, but I think later in the year, he's going to, DBs always find their way into the game. I think you're going to see him play. We need to see him play during the year. CJ West, I think there's a good chance he starts, but if they decide to just have him be a rotational piece, then fine. I think that's good, but he needs to be rotating in. He needs to be getting snaps. You need to see those first 4 or 5 picks in the game making impacts. That means in the game because they're good enough that they're playing over other vets. Is what I'm trying to say. If you're getting those guys on the field and they're producing, you should be a playoff team. Some of the other later round guys we'll see. I think Jordan James is going to be the guy that you see on the field. I don't think he's right away going to be number 2 on the depth chart, but you're going to see him as the season progresses. He's going to get more and more carries. Hopefully that's not because guys are hurt, but it's the running back position. So he's going to get his opportunities. Man, what else? Predictions for the schedule. So the schedule is going to come out. Next week. Okay, I'm getting this video out. I'm going on a cruise, so just trying to get one last video in before. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get another one out before that schedule releases, maybe. But a couple things, like the Niners have always requested since Levi's Stadium opened that they do not play any home afternoon games in that first 3 to 4 week span if they can avoid it, which is difficult. But here's what I expect. Because we play multiple games on the East Coast, I imagine they'll do the classic back-to-back East Coast road trip to start the season for the 49ers. And then week 3 will be a home primetime game. As if they play a home game in those first 3 to 4 weeks, generally it's been a primetime game. So they've had multiple primetime games in week 3. Last year they opened week 1 at home against the Jets, Monday Night Football. I don't think they'll do that again. So I think you're going to end up, your first 2 games are going to be like the Panthers week 1 on the road and the Falcons week 1 or week 2 on the road. And then I think you're going to get week 3 is probably like a Thursday night game, maybe a Monday night game. But it's going to be a home primetime game in that week 3 slot is my guess. The other thing about primetime games for the Niners this year, their schedule, their non-division opponents are so bad, which is not the norm for them. They've had a long list because they've been so successful, which means they play in first place schedules, means they play other good teams on their schedule. They've had a long list of these guys. Like last year you had the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Bills, the Lions, like all these great matchups people want to see in prime time. We're playing the AFC South and the NFC South. You're probably not playing any of those teams in prime time. I wouldn't think. You might get the Jacksonville 49ers, Sunday Night Football, Travis Hunter. Like you could get one of those. I'm not saying it's not possible. What I'm saying is I expect multiple primetime games against NFC West opponents. We had 2 Thursday night games against NFC West opponents last year. That's what I meant. In division. So last year we had a Seattle game, Rams game, both were Thursday nights. I think you're going to see similar to that this year. I think 49ers Rams Monday Night Football is a lock, or it could be a Sunday night game. To me that's a lock. That game's going to be a lock. They'll probably hit it middle of the season. Maybe they'll do it week 3, but it feels like a middle of the season, week 8, week 9 lock for that to be one of them. We always play the Seahawks on Thursday night, it feels like, so maybe that's a lock. Maybe we get Seattle week 3 at home, Thursday Night Football. One that could be an out-of-division primetime game, a big one would be Giants. 49ers-Giants is like a classic 90s rivalry. Giants aren't supposed to be great. They should have a good defense, but they're not going to be turned around, I wouldn't expect. But those colors work on TV. It's like a classic nostalgia game. Giants have a big market, 49ers a big market, so you could see that one in prime time. I hope they open road game, and then at home week 3 in some sort of prime time slot would be awesome. I rambled in this one. I was hopping around. I just was trying to talk about Warren Sharp. I wanted to hit on that. Like, even after the draft and free agency, 49ers still have the easiest schedule in the league. Even after draft and free agency, Vegas still has the 49ers as the betting favorites to win the NFC West. And I think they hit on some draft picks. I'm excited about these draft picks. We won't know till we really get to training camp in the beginning of the year, but feel good about the holes that they filled. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contending team, but between the guys you still have on the roster, I'm looking at George. Let's just rattle off these guys, okay? Cornerstone pieces of the franchise right now. George Kittle, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, the most important piece, who has shown that he can get it done when guys are healthy around him, okay? He gets it done. He's very good. Plays an elite level when he's got the pieces around him. Very excited about Brock. Nick Bosa, okay? Fred Warner, best freaking linebacker in the league, okay? And Diamador Lenore, and then Renardo Green, who really was coming along strong. You have Dominic Puni on the offensive line. These are like really strong, good pieces that if they're healthy, guys, combined with how bad and easy the schedule should be, they should be a lock to make the playoffs. Seven teams in the playoffs per conference. Good chance you could win the division. I wouldn't bet on it. I still am like nervous about the Rams, but I'm just talking playoffs, division, or a wild card. Like, I just think they're a lock if health permits, okay? Health permits. And I think it's reasonable to assume you will have better health luck this year than you had last year. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. That's all I got for you. If you're still here, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. Hopefully, I'm back. I might be able to get a video out before the schedule release, but I might just do one the night it releases or the night after. And we'll talk about big games and all that good stuff. But I appreciate you being here. That's all I got for you. Go Niners.